Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, most compassionate, ever merciful. Dear brothers and sisters in humanity, I greet you with the Islamic greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be with you all. I am Dr. Umar Al-Qadri and you are listening to a Muslim's Voice on Radio Phoenix FM. In today's program, we will be discussing the topic of integration. We will be discussing the topic of participation of the Muslims in the Irish public life. And in this program, we have our guest with us today, who is Brother Ali Hanaf. Brother Ali Hanaf has a Somalian background and has been living in Ireland for the past 10 years. And we will be discussing with him his experience as a teenager who grew up in Somalia as well as in Ireland, and who is now living with his family in Ireland. How was his experience, and to what extent does he participate in the Irish public life, and what does he feel are the challenges in terms of integration? So going to my guest, Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ali.
And wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi, Dr. Umar, and thanks for having me in the program.
You are very welcome. You're very welcome. So tell us, when did you move to Ireland?
And I came to Ireland the first time in 2005 in September.
Okay.
And that was the first time. I was a teenager at the time.
So you've been here almost 10 years now.
Yeah, almost 10 years.
Very good, fantastic. And you mentioned you were a teenager at that time. How old were you?
And I was 17 going to 18 at that stage, yeah.
Okay. Now, growing up in Ireland at that time, you came in a country that was totally new, a country that was not an Islamic country. The majority of the people are not Muslims. So at that age, what challenges did you have, or was it a big shock for you suddenly to come in Ireland and to see people living a different way than you were used to?
And obviously, and whenever you go to another country which is not your country or where you're from, and obviously you will have a cultural shock, and you will have new experiences, challenges, as well as opportunities as well. And coming to Ireland as a teenager and grew up in a Muslim country, almost 100% a Muslim country, and I faced, and I cannot say, and I can say in a good way, and challenges and experiences, and it was a positive experience, I could say so far. And the culture was quite different, the language and the interaction and the weather, and most probably,
absolutely, the weather.
yeah, and everything was different, and it wasn't that hard to interact, and when you're a teenager, and especially when you don't come with your family and your friends and all that, so you feel a little bit alienated. You feel a little bit that you come from a different world,
right?
And it takes time to integrate, and luckily I did that in a successful way.
Very good, very good. That's nice to hear. And your friends at that time, you made obviously Irish friends, and at school or college. How did they see you? Did they welcome you initially?
And of course, and probably when you don't understand the language the first time that you land in this type of country, you will have a difficulty of communication barriers, and in terms of language, and as English is not your first language, and the Irish people are naturally tolerant, warm, friendly, and they never make you feel different or alienate you. And I believe this is the reflection of their history and the hardship that they endured in the past, which makes them naturally good people, and beside this neutral country. So
your experience has been very positive.
It is, yeah, it was, and it is still.
And that is in fact also the experience of the majority of the Muslims living in Ireland, that it is a very, people are very welcoming, and there are a lot of positive qualities of this society, and one of these is justice, for example. We find that in many Muslim countries, there is no true justice, and we don't find true democracy there. We find oppressors, and in this country, a country that the majority of the people have the different religion, but we all share humanity, and certain desires that we have that are common among us are, for example, justice, the need for justice and democracy, and that is something that the people here in Ireland, I think we are privileged to be here, and it's great that we have this positive quality. Would you agree with that? That democracy is something that we have in Ireland, and that it is a privilege?
And absolutely, democracy. We have democracy at its best in this country, and it's something that we can be proud of. And as we are Muslim people living in this country, and we have a full freedom of practicing our religion and freedom of expression, although there's the limitations and all that. But
when you say freedom of expression's limitations, that is from a religious perspective.
Yes, from religious point of view.
But also political, because even politically, the freedom of speech is never absolute.
And it's never an absolute and right, and there has to be limitations, and there has to be certain points that you can't go beyond. And I could say that. And coming back to your point, we have full freedom of practicing our culture and religion, and the funny thing is that in 2014 there was a study done by two Muslim professors and in George Washington University. In 2014, they named and they ranked Ireland as the best country for adhering to Quran out of 208 countries. Ireland was judged to be the most capable of following teachings. So.
Following the teachings of Islam.
Of Islam, exactly. So, and they rank Ireland the best place Muslims could live.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
and it's very positive. And these guys, they don't live here. They're two professors, Muslim professors who live in
Georgetown,
Washington
in
US from George Washington University. And the funny thing I found from this study is, not one country where Islam is the majority religion made into the top 25.
For Muslims to live freely and practice their faith, which is absolutely shocking.
From Muslim countries, they didn't made the top 25. Ireland was the top one.
Which is amazing, because it means that people don't realize that in the countries where the majority of the people are Muslim, we don't enjoy democracy, and we don't enjoy freedom of religion there, despite the fact that the majority people are Muslim. But we do enjoy a lot of these freedoms when we live in the West, when we live in Ireland, for example. Here, whether you belong to any particular ideology, any particular group, you may worship, you may practice your faith as you'd like. And for some Muslims, for example, celebrate the Mawlidun Nabi, the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
True.
And some Muslims don't. Now, the majority of the Muslim world does celebrate the Mawlid al-Nabi, but in Saudi Arabia, for example, Muslims that want to celebrate it, they are not allowed officially to celebrate, which means they are not allowed to express and practice their religion as they want to.
And yes, and there are certain countries in the Muslim world where you're not allowed or do not have the right to freely express your views or practice your religion in other way. And although most of the Muslim countries, you're free to practice your religion. But coming back to your point, in Ireland, there's unlimited freedom of accessing democracy and rights and all that. And that's what the Constitution allows in this country for us. We live the non-Muslim people side by side peacefully, and and every society practices their religion, and where we didn't have that in other countries. But in this country, when we have some countries in the West, I can't say people do exercise freedom of expression at its best, because there are some oppressions and all that. But in this country, we are very proud and we are very lucky that we have no problems so far.
So do you feel that, would you consider yourself to be Irish?
And a part of me is Irish, part of me is a Somali. So, and I'm proud to say that, and I'm Somali Irish.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And that means that your children also will be Somalian Irish.
And of course, yeah. And
it is like, for example, the people in America, where you have the Irish Americans.
And exactly, yeah, that's everywhere. Like, and the Constitution allows you that, and to have a double citizenship.
I'd like to talk more in detail about the Somalian Muslim community. A large number of the Somalian brothers and sisters do come to the Al Mustafa Islamic Center. And I understand that there is also a prayer hall that they have for the brothers and sisters from Somalia. So we'd like to, inshallah, talk about that just after this short break. Dear listeners, we are going to listen to Mahir Zain, one of the great nasheed artists from the Middle East. Mahir Zain.
So alone, all you see is night and darkness all around. You feel so helpless, you can't see which way to go. Don't despair and never lose hope, 'cause Allah is always by your side. Insha'Allah, 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 you'll find your way. Insha'Allah, 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 you'll find your way. Every time you commit one more mistake, you feel you can't repent and that it's way too late. You're so confused, wrong decisions you have made haunt your mind and your heart is full of shame. But don't despair and never lose hope, 'cause Allah is always by your side. Insha'Allah, 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 you'll find your way. Insha'Allah, 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 you'll find your way. Turn to Allah, He's never far away. Put your trust in Him, raise your hands and pray. Ooh, yeah, Allah, guide my steps, don't let me go astray. You're the only one who can show me the way. Show me the way, show me the way, show me the way. Insha'Allah, 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 we'll find our way. Insha'Allah, 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 we'll find our way. Insha'Allah, Insha'Allah, Insha'Allah,
Dear listeners, you're very welcome to A Muslim's Voice with Dr. Umar Al-Qadri. You're listening to Radio Phoenix FM. In today's program, we have a guest, Ali Hanaf, who is a graduate from the ITB in social science and who is originally from Somalia and has been living in Ireland for the past 10 years. We are discussing his experience as someone who migrated as an immigrant to Ireland and as a Muslim who is living in this society, what he feels are the challenges and the difficulties. So, Ali, I would like to ask you about some personal questions. You have a family, I understand you're married. And how many children do you have?
I have 3 lovely children.
Beautiful, beautiful. And boy, girl?
And I have 2 girls and 1 boy.
Okay, that's exactly the same like me. Wonderful.
Right,
It's lovely, isn't it? And how old are they?
And I have 6 years old and 3 and 2 months old.
Wow, mashallah, beautiful,
Izaz.
beautiful. Alhamdulillah, beautiful. Izaz, yes, indeed. This is a blessing from God, a blessing from God Almighty.
Exactly.
Children. You were married in Ireland with a Somalian lady.
Yeah.
Your children are growing up in this country, and you're a Muslim. Do you feel that they will have any challenges as a Muslim when they grow up in this country?
And surely they will have challenges, and life is full of challenges.
Absolutely. And what kind of challenges will they face, you think?
And cultural challenges, and probably not language and challenges because they were born and grew up here. But they will have challenges in terms of religion, in terms of and faith, in terms of and background, cultural, and all sorts of things, and that we experience every day. But I believe that they are.
So, in terms of religion, sorry to interrupt you there. What do you think is a challenge? Like, is it maybe because the majority people are not religious, and you try to be religious? Is it because of that? Do you think that, or is it because of prejudice against Muslims? Why would you believe that it is a challenge from a religious perspective?
And I believe that, and talking about today's society, the modern society, I believe a lot of the views of the contemporary Irish society about Islam has been very much misled by the Western mainstream media, which portrays Islam as a violent religion or associates with terrorism, and as we see and on the headlines. And yes, there are occasions where hostile remarks, and because people see something like and something about the media like IS and executions and suicides and stuff like that. And surely my children will be associated with that term, because whenever that your name starts with Muhammad or something like that, and if the non-Muslim person and does not well equipped the knowledge of what Islam stands for, and surely there will be prejudice.
So people will blame, you mean, the majority of the Muslims for the actions of certain individuals?
Yeah, exactly. There will always be a link and an association for what happens or what has been shown in the media, what has been played and in the videos, and your belief system, and as a Muslim, you will always be associated.
But are you not the one that can change that perception as a Muslim that is living in Ireland? I mean, people should, of course, not get the understanding of a community from the media. The best way to understand who Muslims are and what they believe in and how they live their life is to interact with Muslims. I have discussed I think that was the second program we did, that if you want to understand Islam, first of all, go to the text, the primary source of the teachings of Islam, which is the Quran. Read the Quran, and secondly, interact with Muslims, and you will see that the majority of the Muslims, they absolutely disassociate themselves. They condemn ISIS and all other terrorists, and it is like the Irish people can understand this, because a lot of Irish people in the late 70s, in the 80s, when they were living in England, they were seen as terrorists, and everyone was associated with IRA, while not every Irish person was would agree with the actions of the IRA. Some would, but the majority wouldn't. So that, of course, the Muslims are facing. But are the Muslims not the people that can change that perception?
And sure, and not only the Muslims, but and even the hosting society and could contribute in this. And the challenges are real, and in relation to integration, and are prevalent. And in order to overcome these challenges, significant efforts must be made by both parties, Muslims and non-Muslims, in Ireland, and to break the barriers and create more healthy and hostile-free society, living in peacefully together. And we need to contribute. We need to come together and have a discussions, dialogue, and talking openly. And it's not like something that had been alienated and had been pushed and aside and only the Muslims.
Yes, and you as an Muslim that thinks that there are challenges, and one of the challenge is people associate Muslims with certain terrorist activities. But as I said, you can make that change. I mean, the people that live around you, the people that you studied with, the people that you work with, the people that are living, that are your neighbors, is their perception of Muslims the same? Or do you think that it has changed because your interaction with them?
And of course, we are all goodwill ambassadors of Islam, and we need to portray the good image of Islam and wherever we are, and in a small way and in a big way. And I do try to and at least to portray the good image of Islam wherever I go. And for example, my neighbor, and I'm a member of my local residents association.
Very good.
And I try to contribute in a little way and showing even in a small way and helping the local people, helping the needy people, and taking part and participation and whatever cause that's going on in your local area. That's the good image that you can give as a Muslim person.
And that all helps to get rid of that perception, the wrong perception.
And exactly. And the more you interact with the people, the more you talk to the people, you get more chances that you could change their perception, that you can talk to them, that you can tell them that this is not the real Islam, what's going on in IS held areas or something like that. And we're not we're not that kind of people that you're saying in the media. That's not the true teaching of Islam. The true teaching of Islam is living peacefully and side by side and respecting humanity. At the end of the day, we're all humans. And we're
and these people, the ISIS, are not even following Quran. They're not even following the teachings of Islam. Islam tells us that there is no compulsion in religion, la ikraha fi din. But these people are prosecuting others because of their faith and beliefs, and they are prosecuting Muslims also. So we, as Muslims, not only the majority of the Muslims, but at the same time the scholars, the traditional scholars, the influential scholars, they have condemned and they have disassociated. Some of the scholars, in fact, have very clearly, categorically, they have given fatwas, verdicts that these people are not Muslims at all, because they are acting against the essence of Islam. And the essence of Islam is dialogue, is peace, is harmony in the society. Now, that brings me to another question. You mentioned that you did interact with your neighbors and friends. Did they ask you, did somebody ask you, like, please tell me about Islam? Did they ever ask you that question?
And sure. And the first minute that you express your view about Islam, or you even mention your name as a Muslim person, and you get these questions bombarded into like what Islam is like, and is Islam these people we see and suiciding themselves, executing and all that, and as I said before, we are all goodwill ambassadors of Islam, and we need to represent the good image of it. And I always try to explain the true teaching of Islam. And although I'm not an Islamic theologist, but coming from social background, I can understand and relate the way people are thinking and what they think and the perceptions they held. And there's always misconceived perception about Islam, and because of the media and all that. So I try, and whenever I get the time to interact with the local people and who are non-Muslims, and I try to portray the good image of Islam and tell them what the Islam means is and harmony and peaceful respect and all that. So
So when I would ask you, what does Islam mean for you? How would you reply that?
And Islam means for me everything, and Islam and Islam as a word is a peace, and Islam is respect, and Islam and is living together in harmony. And so I believe Islam is not the way that had been portrayed before, and Islam is full of is full of passion, is full of compassionate, is full of respecting each other, helping the needy ones, and it's all that.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much. The Somalian Muslim community in Blanchardstown, can you please tell our listeners a bit more about that community? How many Muslim members from the Somalian community are there, and which mosques do they go to, and if they have their own place of worship also? Please, can you tell us to our listeners?
Somali community, and we have a big number in Dublin 15 constituency, and more than 100 families and from Somalia live in this constituency, and they do contribute into the local causes, and they integrate very well. And we have a Somali cultural center in Ballycullen and in Orion and Business Park, and mainly they are either graduates or university going and age or students, and they do contribute in the local economy. And mainly they are professionals, and they do pay the taxes and all that. So and they're a very healthy community and very proactive, and I could say they're doing at their best to integrate into the local society. And though we are not that big number in Dublin 15, but we are very visible and very proactive.
Very good, fantastic, great. The diversity of the Ummah can be really seen when you go to the Jummah, you go to the Friday mosque in Al-Mustafa Islamic Center, for example, where we have met many times. You see the diversity of the Muslim Ummah. You see that it's not just the Somalians or the Pakistanis, it's people of various different cultures and different communities that come together but share one thing in common, and that is Islam, that is the religion. And similarly, I think that can be applied to all people, that we all people are from different backgrounds. We are very diverse, but what brings us together is humanity. That is something very, very powerful. In terms of Irish public life and its participation of Muslims, do you feel that Muslims are participating in the Irish public life?
And I do have a very positive experience in terms of participating into the local society and into the hosting community, and which are the Irish mainly. And I think and there was a problem the first generation who come into this country, because in terms of the language challenges and all that, there was a communication barrier. But the second generation and who grew up here, who studied here, they are well integrated into the community. And the sort of places that you do fail to integrate with the community are the public places. And in this country, and the most of places that you could integrate with the local people is in the pub. And we are Muslims, we don't go to the pub. But it doesn't mean that all Irish and all Irish people go to the pub. You can.
That's true. That's not all Irish people drink.
Yeah, exactly. But
and I think that the pub is not the only place where people socialize. Nowadays, you have the Starbucks, you have the coffee shops where people go and socialize also.
And exactly, you can socialize in many ways, but that's the main place that if you want to interact with the local people and have a chat with them and have a coffee and all that, but. And there are many places that you're able to interact with the local people as well, And like the public places, like and as you said before, the Starbucks and the big places like the shopping center and all that. And
Yes, thank you very much. We're going to go to a short break. We're going to listen to Maher Zain, and we'll come back and we'll discuss the participation of the Muslims in Irish public life.
Poetry ever written, every verse and every line, all the love songs in the world and every melody and rhyme. If they were combined, they would still be unable to express what I want to define when I try to describe my love for you. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. يا ربي صل عليه، يا ربي صل عليه، يا ربي صل عليه صلوات الله عليه. Every sound and every voice in every language ever heard, each drop of ink that has been used to write every single word, they could never portray everything I feel in my heart and wanna say. And it's hard to explain why I could never describe my love for you. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. يا ربي صل عليه، يا ربي صل عليه، يا ربي صل عليه صلوات الله عليه. There's not a single person who can ever match his worth in character and beauty to ever walk on earth. I envy every rock and tree and every grain of sand that embraced his noble feet or that kissed his blessed hands. Ya Rasul Allah, Ya Habib Allah, grant us the chance to be with him. We pray to you, Allah. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك
Dear listeners, you're very welcome to A Muslim's Voice with Dr. Umar Al-Qadri. We have a guest in our studio, Ali Hanaf, who is a graduate from the ITB and has a degree in social science. He is originally from Somalia, but now he is no more only Somalian, he is Somalian Irish. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ali, again.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, Dr. Umar.
We are discussing today in our program your experience as an immigrant, as a Muslim immigrant in Ireland, but at the same time we're discussing about the participation of Muslims in Irish public life. Before the break, we mentioned that public life in Ireland is not only confined and limited to the pub. Public life is also the politics. For example, public life is also the media. Public life is also the education sector. Public life, at the same time, is also other various different segments of the society. Sports is a very important one. Even that is public life. Now, when we look at the participation of Muslims in politics, in Ireland, many years ago, this is 1992, there was a Muslim TD in the Dáil. His name was Musaji Bhamji, and he was a South African doctor, Muslim doctor, who from Clare, exactly. Now the funny thing is that because he was the first immigrant and he was the first Muslim to be elected in the Dáil, they used to say about him that it's good to see an Indian among all cowboys in the Dáil. So then he was not elected anymore, and he did not continue the political career, and he's working as a doctor now. But when we look at the politics, we see that Muslims did actually contest in the local elections many years ago. We have Shaheen who contested from Dublin 15. We have Zahid Hussain who contested. These two are Pakistani gentlemen. We have also had Ido from the Nigerian community who contested, from the Nigerian Muslim community. Now, do you see, as a Somalian Muslim who was brought up here, do you see the possibility in the future of having Muslims politicians?
And yes, and I do, and strongly encourage for the youngsters and the professionals and from Muslim communities and to participate in the political sphere and the political life in this country, because at the end of the day, we belong here, we live here, and it seems that we're not going anywhere. Well,
that's an important point you said, that we live here and we belong here, because many of us that have chosen Ireland to be their home now, this is the home of our children. We're not going back. I mean, this is where we are. It's like the Irish that went to America. They started living there, and many of them never returned, and their generations, their generations are living there, and there are so many people that claim to have Irish ancestors, including Obama, the president of the United States. So that is totally, a relevant point, that we are here. But at the same time, when we are in Ireland, we are a citizen of this country. We are not just Muslim. No, we are Irish. And yes, our faith may be a Muslim, we may have a Muslim faith, but that does not in any way contradict being Irish. Do you agree with that?
And I do agree that, and since we're here in Ireland, and coming from Islamic countries and like Somalia, Pakistan, Nigeria, and anywhere, and before the growth of Islam and on a global scale and its extension into areas previously dominated by other religions, and it means that the perceived historical or global boundaries of religion have become absolute. Example, in the past, the geographical centers of Islam was in the Middle East as well as Asia and Africa. These centers still remain important, but Islam spread its wings into new diverse territories like Ireland.
Like Ireland and Europe, yes.
Like Ireland and Europe and beyond.
And that is exactly how, for example, first Christianity was only limited to Europe, and then it went to Indonesia, to the Philippines, it went to Africa. but that is a different, debate.
And exactly, but
I just want to go back to that point that there will be people from the community that will they will contest in the elections, and they will, whatever they have as Irish people, they'll bring into the community, and they'll not only look after the challenges and needs of the Muslim society, but at the same time they have a duty to look after the people that are in their constituency.
And exactly, and it's very good. It's very good point to that, and we need some people to represent as a Muslim and society. If you don't have someone to represent you, someone else will represent on your behalf. And I do strongly agree and encourage that Muslim people to participate in the political and sphere in this country. And we have professionals, we have doctors, and we have political science graduates, and we have a very community and activists, and we're not feasible in the political sphere when it comes to running into the local elections. And the Doyle and we had a very few numbers and who run into those elections, and it's very important. And at the end of the day, we don't have someone to represent us. We don't have someone to have on our voice.
That brings me to another point that the elections are coming next year. As far as now, no political party has in its agenda, manifesto, anything that is related to the new Irish citizens, to the immigrants. That there is nothing there is nothing that they have at the moment. They haven't announced anything. So do you think it is important that political parties do acknowledge that we have new Irish citizens? These are the new Irish people that were immigrants and that whose home is now Ireland, and they may have their own challenges, they may have their own difficulties, and it is important that these people are acknowledged, and at the same time their needs are addressed. Do you think that is important?
And it's very important, and since we live here, and it's estimated, and the Islam and communities who live here, and more than 70,000, and it's a big number.
Absolutely.
And it's a big number, and mainly they're immigrants, and more than 60-70% they're immigrants and from other countries, and newly naturalized, and most of them, and to some extent that no other parties that have their manifesto and in a way to represent those people. And the best way to acknowledge that is to have local activists and people who could canvass, people who could create awareness locally and could represent those people, like 70,000 people, and having no representatives in the parliament or in the Dáil. It's very difficult at the end of the day, and political parties do ignore this, and it's very it's very challenging, and it's a very big issue to ignore a big number of the society.
I personally do not see it only as that it's the Muslim community who is being who's not represented in the Dáil. I think it's the immigrant community mainly. It's not just the Muslims. It's also the it's also the Christians. It's also the Hindus, the people from that were coming from other countries and have made Ireland the home. The immigrants. It's important that we have some representation. Now, I was yesterday in St. Patrick's College, and there was a national integration seminar where I happened to meet a Polish lady who is standing up for the elections, contesting next year, and she's a first generation Polish Irish, and it is amazing. It's really nice to see that from the Polish community, immigrant community, someone has actually stood up and is contesting, and hopefully as the time will pass, many among the communities, immigrants, will try to contest. Now, in terms of integration, do you think that the government, or the councils, Fingal County Council, for example, where we are in, do you think that they somehow have promoted integration? They have are you aware of any program, any initiative, any activity that helps to bridge the communities and understanding between communities and integration? Are you aware of any such initiative?
And to be honest, and speaking from experience, I haven't seen any initiatives. And although there could be some, but I'm talking from my personal experience, the facilities are made available, and such as the sports facilities and the meeting places and all that. But I haven't seen an effective initiative which has been aimed to bridge the immigrants and the hosting community. And we have worked at this for quite some time in a Somali Cultural Center, where we do try to help the immigrants to integrate fully into the Irish society. And it's very important, and I do acknowledge it's very important that government should make available and whether it's funding or the facilities and for the immigrants and
absolutely, and those
community.
facilities that are there, they must be supported by the government more. If there is already support, that support should increase. I think this program itself, I mean, it's amazing that Radio Phoenix FM have allocated a program that will cater to the large Muslim community in Dublin 15, A Muslim's Voice. So such organizations and platforms should be supported by the government.
And exactly, and in a small way, and even and a big, and this week and the last week we organized and to create awareness and to encourage people and to register their vote and in a Somali Cultural Center and Al Mustafa Islamic Center as well, and where we held today, where we distributed the registration forms and all that. It's very important, like such causes, because I tried to contact the local the local representatives on the Fingal County. Is there any initiative? Is there any funding? Is there any help with that? And because we need to register and more than 200, 300 families. And we couldn't find those initiatives. And we know that and the government is doing a great job and this radio community that we sit at the moment is a big achievement for the community to have.
It is indeed, yes.
And it's very important that those initiatives to be visible and communities to be active and being benefited at its best.
Very good. Now, I just want to talk about sports, the participation of the Muslim community in sports, because sports it's also part of the public life. Have you noticed any Muslim players in the football, for example, or other games?
And I wish to see Muslim lads playing in the local league or the GAA.
Oh yes, well, in the local league they're definitely there. So some of the students of the Al Mustafa Islamic Center are play for Corda, for example. They play for other groups, yes, for other centers. And as you know, that the people from Africa, they are very good in football.
Not only the football and the GA as well, but then we trying to and we started that and about a year ago to train the youngsters and in order to divert them from and being engaged into antisocial behavior and all that, and we created and some training activities and for football and all that, and we always encourage them and to participate and like the football or the GA.
Yes.
We have some teenagers who are coming along the way and who do play football in the local leagues as well, but and so far we haven't been represented in the national level yet. We haven't seen and many immigrants who are playing in the national team and Irish national team, but we hope so in the near future that we will see immigrants from Nigeria, Pakistan, Somalia, or and anywhere the rest of the world and should represent in the national level.
Wonderful, great. Thank you so much, Brother Ali Hanaf, for being here in the program, A Muslim's Voice. It was a wonderful experience, and I'm sure the listeners have also learned a lot about the Somalian community that is living in Dublin 15 and about the challenges that they are facing and about their experience that has been, as you have mentioned, largely very, very positive. I'd like to inform the viewers, the listeners, that we have the Friday prayer, Jum'ah prayer, in the Al-Mustafa Islamic Center, is at Friday at 1:30 p.m. 1:30 p.m. the khutbah starts, and at 2:10 the prayer starts. Now the khutbah is the lecture in English. So everyone, Muslims and non-Muslims, are always welcome to the Al-Mustafa Islamic Center, which is in Cool Mine Industrial Estate, where they can come and meet Muslims. They can interact with Muslims and they can learn more about Islam. And before I end here, I'd like to ask my Somalian Irish guest, Brother Ali Hanaf, to tell us, how do you say hello in Somalian language?
Setai.
Setai.
Yeah.
Setai. And how do you say goodbye?
And Nabat Gelio.
Nabat Gelio. Okay, so from me and from Brother Ali Hanaf, Nabat Gelio.
Nabat Gelio.
See you next time in a Muslim's voice. Take care, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Time rewind. If I could make it undone, I swear that I would. I will make it up to you. Mama, grown up now. It's a brand new day. I'd like to put a smile on your face every day. Mama, grown up now, and it's not too late. I'd like to put a smile on your face every day. Mama, grown up now. It's a brand new day. I'd like to put a smile on your face every day. Mama, the number one for me, the number one for me. Oh, oh, number one for me.